Special thank you to our sponsors of Russ Reels Live, the Alzheimer's Association, the Boulder Falls Inn, and CASA of Lynn County. For more information on Boulder Falls Inn and their amazing conference facility and hotel in Lebanon, Oregon, go to boulderfallsinn.com. And for more information on the Alzheimer's Association and how to give to this amazing organization, go to alz.org. For more information on CASA of Lynn County and their brews and barbecue on September 14th, go to lyncasa.com. Oh, hey. All right. I love that music. It's all good. Hey, I'm a little prejudiced since my son writes all of the music for my live streams, and I love that. But hey, who am I? Hey, everybody. Russ Hedge here, Russ Reels Live, jumping into just chatting before I get a chance to tell you who I am. If you didn't know already, hopefully you join us every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here on Russ Reels Live, where we have amazing panels of people. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how amazing they are. These amazing people come in. We have a topic every week and we discuss things like today. We're going to discuss living with intention and purpose. And I think that is so important. Like being ready for your live stream with your lighting before you start. So we're going to do this. We're going to live live stream. There we go. Woo! Change that lighting. There we go. Anyway, so great to see everybody. You know what? Besides being here at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every week on Russ Reels Live, I have other live streams throughout the week, but I'm not going to talk about those right now. But I am going to tell you that we love for you to connect. And I love to connect with all of you. I'm all about connection and community building. I really feel like that is the foundation for life, really the foundation for marketing and business, but definitely living in a community is what we were created to do. And you can connect with me by going to russhedge.com. There you go, russhedge.com. That's the way to do it. And I would love to connect with you. We can do any kind of communication you like. I have all the social media channels. You can connect on email. You can text me, call me. You can even schedule time directly on my calendar and Zoom with me. We could get to know each other. I would love that. Please do that. And also, you know what? We're building a great YouTube community. I would love for you to join our YouTube community. And the way to do that is easy. Go to russreels.live. There you go. Open another tab, type in russreels.live. It'll take you directly to my YouTube page. And guess what? You can subscribe. What does that do? Not only does it give you great upcoming notices about the stuff we're going to be having on Russ Reels Live, but also you have all the past amazing content from Russ Reels Live, from Marketing with Russ, and even from the Experience Live with Russ and Scott will be on there. So it's amazing what you can get. So make sure that you subscribe today. You know, also we love for people to know we're on, and the guests that I have on today have been amazing and they're already sharing like crazy and the comments are already blowing up. But I want you guys to click that share button, let your friends know and tag them. Tell them, guess what? I have got Brian Schulman, Nancy Barrows, Tracy Borreson, Dave Crysler, Dimitry Ortiz. It's an amazing group today, and you do not want to miss them as we talk about living with intention and purpose. And, you know, it is such a vital topic today, and I think these people really are living that right now, and it's going to make a big difference. We're going to dive into that, talk more about it. So anyway, I think that mostly covers things for today. I want to just thank you again for being here. Remember, 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Thursday on Russ Reels Live. We are here for your enjoyment and love to have you here. So we're going to jump in today of our topic that is living with intention and purpose. You know, there's so many people that are living life by accident, really. I've been there. We've probably all been there at some point, where we're not intentionally focused and following our true reason for life, our why and our purpose and what we're all about. We get sidetracked. You know, the world is a big distraction. Let's face it, right? There's a lot of distractions. I had a big distraction this morning that changed my morning. That doesn't mean they're bad, though. It means that we got to focus and learn how to focus our attention, our purpose, and get clarity in the midst of a little bit of chaos sometimes, right? So, controlled chaos is not always a bad thing. So, ladies first, as we always do, today we're going to start off with Nancy Debra Barrows. Going to bring her in the house, get things started. Here she comes. Hello, Nancy.
Hello, hello. How are you today?
Doing so good. Straight off your day job and ready to enlighten the world, right?
Absolutely. It's so funny because, if I don't work with my day job with intention, I wouldn't make it to the after part.
Well, I'm telling you, I mean, I think we're all there, I mean, no matter what you're doing, there's so many times when you really just got to focus in to keep yourself on track because of all the things that are going on. And I know you've had a lot going on in your life. But before we dive into all the topic today, just give us a short intro. Who is Nancy for that one or two people in the entire world that don't know you? And what are you all about?
Hey, everybody. I'm Nancy Debra Barrows, bio-wise, which is not my favorite part, but I am the chick with the tool belt, and I am been named one of the top 50 most impactful people of LinkedIn, and I can give you all of that. It doesn't tell you anything of me of a human, top voice, best-selling author, but me as a human. I am a dedicated cat mom, an educator, and my intention is to make people feel seen, heard, loved, and valued, and out there radiating real and reminding everyone to take off those masks, to show up as you are in any given moment and receive that unconditional love and that unconditional acceptance for who we are at our core.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, accepting, loving, and being part of a community that really cares. It's so critical. And our next guest, we needed a little Energizer bunny for today, so we brought in Tracy. Here she comes. Whoop whoop.
Hey,
Hey, Tracy.
everybody. I will happily play the role of Energizer Bunny. So thank
There you
you for
go.
that, Russ.
So it is so great to have you here, Tracy. Give us a little rundown. Who is Tracy? What are you up to?
Oh, well, who is Tracy is a very large question, which is, I feel, what I say every time I'm on the show. Some of the key things to note: I am a mom. I am a passionate advocate for personal brands. My background is marketing, but don't hold that against me. And I'm all about authenticity. So how can we bring more intentionality and purpose to our lives in ways that are meaningful for us and not ways that society says we should? So that's the short intro for me.
Well, it's so important in intentionality to live the life we choose. I am the live the life you choose guy. And a lot of that comes through just doing a little bit of planning and being intentional in all that you do. And a person that is great at that is my good friend, Mr. Brian Schulman, who's in the house. Here he comes. Hey, Brian.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, good, good. Glad to have you here. I'm always, this whole group is part of a community that means so much to me and so thoughtful and caring. And I want to tell you, Brian, you use your influence in such a positive way, and I want to thank you for that off the top, for your friendship, for all that you do. And yes, thank you. Give us a little insight. I mean, I don't know there's anybody out there that doesn't know you, but just in case.
Named the king of community on LinkedIn by Forbes, known as the godfather and pioneer of LinkedIn video and one of the world's premier live streaming video marketing experts. I'm a 10-time #1 best-selling author, 2 global award-winning live shows that have been featured on NASDAQ and Forbes, Thrive Global, Viacom, Yahoo Finance, multiple smart TV networks, 2-time LinkedIn top voice, 3-time top 50 most impactful people of LinkedIn, 2-time LinkedIn global leader of the year, and more of those things that I'm not always comfortable saying and go, wow, I want to meet that person because I don't know who it is. But beyond all the accolades and achievements, I'm founder and CEO of Voice Survive as well. Honestly, I'm just most proud of my 2 kids, one who's a senior at Berkeley and the other who's a junior at Princeton, and all the connections of beautiful hearts that I've made along the way over the last 20 years every day on LinkedIn.
It is amazing, the community here that we're all part of, isn't it? And I'm watching all of our good friends. You guys are doing it. Aaron's here doing it. Other people paging and reaching out to people who all love to hang out together, right? Who love to be parts of these kind of communication, some of these discussions, because it is such a community that really loves and cares for each other. And I can tell you guys, I'm blessed from the get-go. I used to watch you, Brian, when it was you and Tim, and then you and Nancy and Tim, and then you and Nancy, and I've learned so much. You guys, Russ Johns, and I think Jim Fuse taught me everything I knew about live streaming to begin with. And so I want to tell you how much I appreciate you guys. So some other friends that are amazing that are here as well. The king of process, the man who can show you how to make it happen, Mr. Dave Crysler's in the house. Hey, Dave.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Excited to be here with you all.
Yes. Well, we're excited to have you, and thanks so much for being here. Dave, give everybody a little bit rundown on you. What are you up to?
Yeah, thanks so much, Russ. Happy to be a part of this community, and certainly happy to be here with you all tonight. So, yeah, feel very esteemed to be on this panel with all of the accolades being floated around here. So I'm not sure I can quite compare, but I am, as Russ said, known in some circles as the king of process. It is something I'm very passionate about. I love to talk about process. I love to talk about systemization. And that's really where I come in to help business leaders that are out there struggling with efficiency, looking for ways to optimize and drive additional profitability for their business, ultimately on a path towards growth. And blessed to be in this community with you, Russ, and just love supporting you and all of your cool friends, and just happy to get a nod here and again. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you bet. Well, you know, I like to hang out with the cool kids, and to round out the cool kids for today, we got my good buddy, Mr. Dimitry Ortiz is in the house. Here he is. Oops, we got to get him back so we can see him. There we go. Hey, Dimitry, how's it going, buddy? And we just have to be able to hear him. That would be a start. I think you're muted.
Technology.
To say, in order for us to really learn from his wisdom, we've got to be able to hear him.
Most definitely. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
So happy to be here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There he is.
Nice. This is such a treat. This is so special. My name is Dimitry, as Russ mentioned. I come from the land of the Mayan Empire. Now, you know, I love it when I get invited to talk with folks that are so amazing, especially in the LinkedIn community. I've known Brian, I've known Nancy. I mean, these guys are just what I seek to be able to impact the world and be able to help so many people. So definitely one thing that I love about community building is being able to be a part of something meaningful. I've been involved in many nonprofits in the past, serve missions, classical full-time missions and such. And so talking about intention, I think that it's so important for everyone to understand their own path and understand what their potentials are. So I'm well known for, I'm a computer scientist over 25 years, just like Dave. I'm also a very process guy. I'm actually known for automation. Intelligent automation, and one of my main visions for this world is that we can eradicate an intelligent, repetitive manual work from the knowledge work, and we can start to explore what really we are made for, the potentials of our minds and the potential of our creativity and our curiosity that's going to drive us there, and everything that we're going to be part of is going to be wonderful. So I think that we need people with a positive message, and to be able to get everybody involved and be able to understand how each of us, it's an important part of what we are living today. So I'm so happy to be here, guys. I'm so happy, and I look forward to this conversation. And thank you, Russ. Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to listening to you.
Well, I think you are so right. You know, there's so many people here today that have their sphere of influence, and a lot of our influences and communities cross over. And I think it's so amazing the opportunities we have, and even the people in the comments. You know, we have other people here that are live streaming, like Aaron is here, and my good friend. I forgot to mention a lot of people here, and Nancy and Brian are better at this than I am, but a lot of people are authors and best-selling authors, and I have been blessed to become an international best-selling author just recently with my good friend, Mr. Willie J, who's here today, sending love. And you guys know Willie, he's amazing and part of one of the authors on our book, Rattled Awake. If you have not got your copy yet, go to Amazon and pick it up. But what I love about that, part of intentionality and influence is wrapped into this whole idea of the books that we've all written. It's part of getting out our legacy and what we're all about. The first book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose, I wrote was all about getting a little piece of me out there, right? Yes, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. There you go. Nancy's got it down. And so, hand motions. It's really important. If you haven't gone to camp, you don't know. But anyway.
The choreography.
Yes, there you go. Well, while you're doing choreography, Nancy, let's bring you back over and, talk a little bit about, why it's so important to you to be intentional and purposeful in all you're doing with everything going on.
I think there's a couple of things that we can all agree on. We have a limited time here on Earth. We have limited energy, and we each have so much to give. And if we are not intentional with how we are showing up, we are missing those opportunities. And so with intentionality, we bring our awareness to what's important to us, which helps us build lives that are fulfilled, which helps us impact those around us, which helps us build community, which helps us feel connected, which helps us feel seen, heard, loved, and valued, which continues on and on and on with all these positivity pieces that build us into being full, well-rounded humans that are part of a bigger picture. And for me, I know that I have had times in my life where my intentionality has sort of wandered. And from experience, knowing that when I'm intentional, when I am creating the most out of every moment, and that doesn't mean every day, every moment I'm productive, but it may be in this moment where I'm floundering, I'm aware, and I'm intentionally going to be in this moment to try and figure out, learn something, decide what my next step is. I don't want people to feel like, oh gosh, you're living with intention and life is always perfect and beautiful. That is not true. We are all out here living life. It is snotty, unsexy, and snotty at times. And even if you're living with intentionality, that's going to happen. But if you're living with intentionality, when those moments come up, we are less likely to be knocked down by them for as long, to go into a space of sort of losing our faith in our track and our belief in ourselves. And it brings us to a place of being able to, like I said, intentionally look at where we're at, see, and even if it's not an ugly, snotty, unsexy day, did I do things today that brought me closer to my goals? Did I intentionally engage in ways that are building the life that I want? Did I do things to help people around me, right? Those are my intentions. I want to bring light and love to people. I want people to be who they are and feel that love, be seen, heard, loved, and valued. And I ask myself every day, did I do something today toward that goal or any other of the pieces and parts of my journey that I know are out there waiting for me? Right? We all have our own purpose and our own path. And when you are living intentionally, the clarity that comes around that. And that's one of the things I love, like with coaching and being the chick with the tool belt, being with people in that aha moment when they really discovered what was inside of them all along, and then creating this comfort with using their voice and setting those intentions and following that path fiercely and passionately.
Yeah. I think that was part of the whole thing when we wrote this book, Rattled Awake, over the weekend. I want to bring up with what you just said, and that is that aha moment that you suddenly became more intentional. You suddenly said, wow, I have been, for me, it was like, if the cancer didn't rattle me awake enough, it was just that moment where I took the reflection and said, life is shorter than I had ever thought. Life could be over like that here on this earth. And I want to influence, encourage, and inspire people every moment of the day. And in order to do that, I got to put more action. I got to put more action to my words. I was saying the words, but I wasn't always doing what I was saying. Didn't mean that I didn't mean it. I didn't care. It's just I wasn't really throwing myself into it, right? Really doing what I needed to do. And I think that's with intentionality, Tracy, is really getting that action going and going with, what you really want to do and you're talking about. Let's start doing it, right? And you're muted too, but it's okay. You were being good and it's all right.
Trying to keep my snacking and drinking to myself. Because it's supper time here. This is what we do. We go on lives. Well, we snack. It's how we do. One of the things this is making me think about, so I do this other collaboration show called The Digital Download, which is on Friday mornings. And one of the things that I'm known for saying on that show is, if you want the thing, you have to do the thing. And so when we talk about intentionality, there's a lot of things we can think about doing. But if there's a misalignment between the things we think about doing and the things that we're actually doing, we're not really being intentional. We're not living intentionally. And so I think there's this really important audit process of like, if I'm setting these intentions, how am I measuring whether or not I'm reaching these intentions? And one of the things I did for myself a while ago was create a personal KPI for myself around authenticity. And one of the reasons I did that is I had, in my past life, said to myself, I think I'm being my authentic self like 5% of the time. What is up with that? Right? Like, that's crazy. And so I started measuring in how many interactions, in what type of situations, with which types of people can I be authentic, and in which places and spaces and people can I not be authentic. And if my intention is to live more authentically, which to me means do what I would do, how am I seeing that there's progress happening in that arena? And so I just judge my day on a percentage. I have this many interactions in a day. What percentage of my day was I authentic in those interactions? And which interactions was I not? And even though, like, just kind of like what Nancy said too, right? This is an ongoing journey. There's no perfect, there's no 100% authenticity. There's no 100% living with intention, living with purpose, because there's this really important self-awareness piece that plays into that. And on an ongoing basis, we all become more self-aware. So we'll know more tomorrow than we knew today, than we knew yesterday. And so we can be more intentional, more purpose-driven, more authentic, because we continue to build on that.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I mean, I think it's learning and growing through our journey. And it makes us more, when we're really sold out on being authentic and being intentional about what we're really trying to do with our life and really living by that purpose or why, everything else kind of falls in line, right, Brian? It starts to be like, things were really, because we're being us, the real us, and it's just kind of falling in place.
Yeah, it's so true. A lot of mic drop moments here, by the way.
Yes.
You guys are incredible. I think, look, I mean, living in the times that we are today, the world is turned upside down in a handbag. Like, it is just, everyone is going through so much pain, so much suffering, so much angst. People are trying to figure out, where their next job's going to be, how they're going to get food on their table for their family. And I think, there is, if I look at a platform like LinkedIn, where there is so much good intention, there are so many people that are showing up for one another because people are showing up genuine and authentic and sharing their struggles and their pains and the experiences that they're going through. And I think that the most impactful part about that is the fact that people are showing up and supporting them. They're showing up to help. It's not just, wishing you the best. And they are intentionally showing up to provide support and help others in any way that they possibly can. And I think when you are, and those are people in their own right that are struggling too. So when you have people that are showing up, going through these experiences, right, where they don't have anything left in their cup to give, but they are giving everything they can to be able to help someone else who they know is struggling, their intention and their purpose of giving from their heart for nothing other than being able to help someone out, another human being with a heartbeat, is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I think that is when you find true community, when people are intentionally working together and caring about each other. And you find this whether good times or bad, we're either celebrating together, right? Or we're going to bat for each other and helping each other out. I mean, I can personally say what a blessing it's been over this last year with my cancer journey, and what a blessing this community has been to me. When I first put the word out there and I decided to be a little vulnerable and radiate real, right? Right, Nancy? I decided to put that out there, and I did it intentionally to try to encourage and inspire people that in spite of what I was going through, I was still keeping a positive perspective and a positive mindset through it all. What ended up happening is I ended up bawling in front of the computer with all the people that were supporting me and praying for me, and people all around the world that I didn't even know. Thousands of people are praying for me. They're sending me audios and their audio messages and video messages. And I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. This isn't even people I know. They just know people that I know, right? Or maybe some of them don't even know people I know. I don't know, but it was pretty crazy. And this is, I think, when you're intentionally from the heart and purposefully living to love, to give, to serve, to help others, and be part of a community like we are. It really comes together like that. And Dave, I think that, the manufacturing community, that I love manufacturing.
I do
And
know
so,
that. Yes. Some of your
for
favorite people.
that's it. For some people, Dave and I have been such good friends for a while now. People that don't know the inside joke there, it's all about Dave was, I don't know, second or third time he was on a live stream of mine. And I told him how amazing he was at explaining things. And it was very interesting because I said, really, manufacturing is really boring, but you make it sound really exciting. And he's like, and then I could hear everybody in manufacturing going, whoa. And so, of course, I did it but it's fun. Now I love manufacturing. I let everybody know that. But Dave, you are so good about reaching out and really teaching and helping people through the process. And talk a little bit more about that, how you're intentionally reaching your community.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody has kind of said here, in order to really affect any type of change, you have to be intentional with it. And intentionality for me kind of goes beyond that surface level, and tying it back to the process, tying it back to the things that we can measure. Because those are the interactions, those are the ways that we can make meaningful change towards that intentionality. I can't remember if it was Tracy or Nancy who kind of made the comment, but sometimes you're just not showing up, right? Sometimes you're just not feeling it. And, so when you kind of peel that onion layer back and you can look at the steps behind what we need to do to be intentional, to show up intentionally, to be our authentic selves, and to do all of the big things that we all have on our lists, it makes it much simpler to be able to attack it in a meaningful way and to make a little bit of progress. You don't have to, move mountains every day, but if you know the steps that you need to take in order to show up and to be intentional and to reach out and to make an impact and to help people, and kind of meeting people where they're at, right? And that could be in a bunch of different ways. That could be from an emotional standpoint. That could be for helping somebody that is maybe a year or a couple of years behind you in they see you as somebody to be a mentor for, reaching back and helping them and sharing lessons learned, right? It could be just a number of different ways, but digging back and having some metrics and a process to follow in order to do that is what really helps me stay on task with it, and to make sure that I'm doing the things that I know eventually will lead to the change and the impact and the things, that I want to be a part of and be known for. And along with that, you just get so many cool little stories and feelings, to your point, Russ, of, people that you don't maybe know on a one-on-one basis, but they see you on a random live, and all of a sudden, something you've said really touches them and they remember that. And it's all of those little things that get weaved together. And, I kind of share the part for me, I was never really an extroverted person. That's, as I tease my wife's department, she is the put you in a room and she'll tell you how many people she knows, in 5 seconds. And for me, the pandemic and kind of going through and being an entrepreneur, all of those things kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone to, kind of be vulnerable, to open myself up, to build better relationships. And it's just such an incredible experience, right? Living through intentionality, continuing to do those things out of my comfort zone, not liking it, but knowing that I had to do it in order to do the things that I wanted to do. And it's incredible now to say how many people I know all across the world who I could call, who I could text, who I could, ask a favor of, who I'd be willing to, fly to go give a favor, right? Like, it's incredible. And I wouldn't have any of those things without the intentionality behind what I'm trying to do, and learning lessons from people like you and everybody else on this panel. So
Right. Well, I mean, and that's just it. The community continues to grow, and the more we're intentional about coming together and helping each other, and then in different areas, like for me, I come up with great ideas. I just give them all to Dave and let him put the processes together and take it from there. That's not my thing. So, but really, I love the fact, a lot of you brought up, intentionally reaching out, connecting, and we see that going on right now in the comments, and I appreciate, Nancy and Brian, all that you do, Aaron, everybody getting out there, reaching out to people, and everybody. If you're not connected to every one of us in this panel today, please connect, because this is a group of heart-centered people that really want to connect with you, right, Dimitri? People that want to get out there, and I'm giving you a heads up, Dimitri, so you make sure and unmute yourself, because so no, I'm just very excited, and I'm going to tell you a story after Dimitri goes. But Dimitri, you are, besides needing a little bit more energy, you are such a blessing. Take it away.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you. So yes, I think that this is a wonderful topic for the simple fact that intention pretty much measures our ability to understand what we're doing. I think that life is perception, and it's unfortunate that many times, because we lack some clarity, we lack understanding, as we mentioned, the processes that sometimes are in place are not the ones that help us, are not the ones that are for us. And one of the things that I think intention is going to be able to help us. I'm a technology evangelist. I mean, I think that in these days where we live in, where we are approaching a new and exciting time, but unfortunately, many are afraid. They are approaching technology with fear, and I think fear will never be. It's a liar. And so that's what I believe that intention starts when we start to have more clarity in general, whatever it is that we're doing. The system has told us that if we didn't follow a certain educational path, then we weren't going to look as successful as we could have. But nowadays we're starting to understand that we don't have to follow the cookie cutter structure. We can fail, and when we fail, we sometimes come back and bounce even higher. Imagine that. So in other words, living with intention, in my opinion, is understanding that we are here to discover ourselves. And even that itself, it's so exciting, because when you live with intention, then you're looking for that incredible, amazing world that you haven't discovered. Imagine that. And the reason I say that is because I've traveled, to different continents. I speak a few languages. And allowing me to be able to speak to different cultures has allowed me to understand the world better, has allowed me to understand myself better, and has allowed me to understand that sometimes the things that I'm complaining about are so minimal to what's happening everywhere else. So it allows me to be aware, not just of my self-awareness, but the world around me. And I think that's where the technology, I think, is doing a wonderful work. I mean, how would you be here in the land of the Mayan Empire if it wasn't for this technology? And how would you know about this guy? That, why is he talking some crazy stuff, and yet he's just a computer scientist? But you know what? We all have such great and amazing stories, backgrounds, cultures, experiences, that that's where community comes in, because it's not about only helping specifically, but by being there, by sharing our ideas, by sharing our experiences. That is just the most powerful movement that is out there right now. And that's an intentional movement, because there's many of us that are doing things that we didn't know we were supposed to do. We are changing and adapting to things that we would have never imagined. And so that is living with intention, understanding that there is so much that we need to discover. There is so much that makes us and completes us. Our brains are so individually wired that in order to see how beautiful this world is, we need to encourage people to tell their stories and share their experiences. And that's what we're doing here today. Because see, that's when we see everyone else struggling, when we see everyone else doing what they're supposed to do, that intention becomes stronger, and it's a wave. And that's what makes us powerful, because we come together.
Yeah, momentum. We build momentum together because we're better together. I truly believe that. And you talked about fear. There were so many mic drops in there. I kept losing track. But you talked about fear and overcoming that. And people are afraid to step out. They're afraid to take risks, and their intentions and their purpose and hopes just kind of fall by the wayside because they're really afraid to move forward. And I think that people need to realize that failure, whether you call it that or not. I had a LinkedIn newsletter a couple weeks ago on, is it really failure? And that was, people really, really engaged with that, because some people think it's not really failure. It's just finding ways to not, to succeed. Other people believe that you need to fail. But, I wanted to read this to you real quickly. I love this quote that I use all the time. You think about people that have achieved so much, that have been intentional and purposeful in every step of the way, but they failed so many times, but they've just got better. This quote says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost over 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. And who said that? Anybody want to reach out and tell me? Michael Jordan.
MJ.
Michael Jordan. Because, the greatest basketball player of all time, because we learn through life and we learn to really grow and become more intentional with things. And, I'm just thankful, Nancy, as I'm going to bring you back up next. I'm thankful as I intentionally, day after day, and I know that everybody here does this, work overtime to continue to build community, to connect to people, build community, because I really gain strength from that personally. And I love to encourage and give strength to others through that all. And I've been so blessed. I wish all of us could be in the same room right now, but I am getting a chance to fly back to Pennsylvania to our good friend Tim Sohn and the Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. A lot of that because of people who blessed me, because, over the summer when I've been recovering from surgery, it's a little tougher sometimes to do business, right? And so some people blessed me and helped me, and I'll admit it. And I'm able to go now, and I'm looking forward to that. But that came together because people intentionally wanted to help. People intentionally wanted to gather around a topic. And Nancy, I know that you've been blessed as well. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's incredible. The intentions that people have of supporting one another is sort of a universal, and it's not bound by whether or not you know somebody, whether or not you've had an experience, shared experience with them, but that we're human and that we have shared experiences, period. Right. So recently I shared that, I had been back east with my family, with my mom and dad. My dad had fallen and broken his femur, and I was only supposed to be there for 10 days. But while I was there, what I discovered was really my mom was struggling with her cognition and her memory, and that in order for my heart to be at peace, my intention was to move there, to move from California to Florida to be with them. And setting that intention and sharing it with others, as you said, Russ, it's not just about sharing our stories, right? In sharing my story, I was sharing my intention and the way people show up, because like I said, it's not necessarily about us, that community bond where we have to know one another individually and have that personal experience, it is also about the shared experience as humans, right? How we are connected in a bigger picture. And I, said in the comments, you want to surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins, right? Celebrate you on top as much as when you're down, because we're going to get there and we're going to be there. And the trick being, as you said, Russ, setting our intentions, making the plan, putting it out there, and continuing, as everyone has said, like, how do you monitor it, and keeping yourself going and keeping yourself accountable. And for me with this move, it was very hard to put myself in this position of asking, and yet my intention required it. And I think it's not fear of technology, but it is that fear and putting yourself out of your comfort zone and being willing to, I guess you can call it failure, being willing to be human, being willing to learn from what you've been through and share that with others. I think it was, I don't remember who said it. I'm so sorry. But we serve as models. Maybe it was Dave. We serve as models, right? So there's always somebody that's going to be ahead of us that can teach us something. And we are blessed to be ahead of someone else that they can look to us. And if we're living with intention, and we know what we need for our hearts to be at peace.
Right.
There's an ease to that. I'm not saying life is always going to be easy. I'm not saying it's not without its ups and downs, because we're going to fight tooth and nail at times. But there is an ease to that clarity of thought and intention and sharing it, right? Putting it out there into the universe and allowing others to energize your intention, and in turn doing the same for them selflessly. We were talking about people who show up and give selflessly. That's intentional, right? You make a commitment to your community. You make a commitment to yourself. And I think it's really important to ask ourselves, how self-aware am I, right? That checking in with with yourself, hold yourself accountable, and be willing to grow and see the places where, hey, that wasn't my best self. That wasn't my finest shining moment. If we want to call them failures, fine. But if we have the self-awareness and we are dedicated to living with intention, the lessons we learn, the wisdom we gain, it goes from knowledge to wisdom because we share it with others. And in being intentional in sharing that, like you said, our stories, man, oh man, what a powerful, impactful thing.
Well, and it's so powerful. And this discussion is so powerful that I just realized we got to make this the last round. So Nancy, you're the first one of the last round. So give us a minute of your total best gold nugget of the day, and then how do people get in touch with you?
Okay, my gold nugget is write a list of all the people that you are 100% real with. And after you've done that, check and make sure your name's on the list. Because if you're not on the list and you're not 100% real with yourself, living with intentionality is going to be very challenging. And you are going to buy into the narrative that it does not work and it's not for you. So that would be my nugget of wisdom. And for people to get in touch with me, I am here on LinkedIn. You can find me on other platforms. You can send smoke signals. Certainly can get in contact with Russ or anyone here on this panel to find me. It is my biggest privilege to have joined the LinkedIn community and been received and surrounded by a family that I did not know I had, and a community that I did not know I needed. And I will continue. As I said, my intention is to make sure that people are feeling seen, heard, loved, and valued, and receive that very same warm welcome with open hearts that I did. So I thank you all for your wisdom, and for you, Russ, to continuing to create these types of spaces for us all to show up in.
Thank you. Thank you. And all of Nancy, their information is in the show notes. It's in the comments. I'm so overwhelmed with comments, I can't even get to where it is to have it show up below her right now. So just everybody know that it's going to be in the comments a couple times, and it's in the show notes. It's all clickable for all of our guests. Tracy, you're up next.
All right. I feel I came off of mute. Did you see that, everyone? I'm learning. Intentionality at work. I want something that's coming up for me in this conversation is like, how do we know when we're being intentional? Because I feel like on the panel, we have a lot of people talking about these like journeys we've been on to get to this place where we can be really intentional. But I wasn't always like that. I went to business school and I had a corporate job and I did all the things that society told me I should do. And at the time, I didn't experience myself as not living intentionally, or maybe it wasn't part of the conversation, but now when I look at that old version of me and I look at this new version of me, there's a like Traciness that exists now that didn't exist before. And one of the things that I speak about a lot is our personal brand. And to me, that's the experience that we leave other people with, and that includes ourselves. And so when we look at the things that we're doing, whether that be in our work or in our personal relationships or online or in real life, how do those things reflect the real you? I like to talk about them like it's a mirror. And if you put a mirror up in front of yourself and your spouse's relationship, does that look like you? Does it feel like you? How you're showing up online look like you and feel like you? And when we talk about intentionality, I think this is the place where we have the greatest opportunity to learn and grow, because this is a journey of learning and growing. And if we can take that mirror with us everywhere we go and just ask ourselves, if I held my mirror up in front of that, would it look like Tracy or would it have looked like someone else? And if it looks like someone else, to forgive ourselves for that. I always think that in terms of self-awareness and personal growth, there's such a big component of forgiveness, that we didn't know what we didn't know. And we can't hold ourselves accountable for the things we didn't know. And now that we know them, how can we say, okay, great. I learned that in this situation, I'm really not showing up intentionally, or I thought I was, but then the actions didn't take me where I thought I was going. So how do I address that? And we got to forgive that wonderful past part of you that gave you the opportunity to become who you are today. So in our journey of intentionality, that's really just what I wanted to touch on as my final piece is, let's make sure that as we continue to grow, we forgive that old part of us that maybe wasn't as being as intentional because they didn't know how. And they make up a very important part of the person who now can address the world in such an intentional way.
Awesome. Awesome. Well said. And people get in touch with you, how?
LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I want to be your friend on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn.
Right on. We can do that. Yes, we can. And Kenny has joined us. Great to have you here, Kenny. All right. So, Brian, you're up.
All right. I have two things. One is something on what Nancy said, and the other is something that Tracy said. So, doubt, fear, failure, it's something that we all face in our lives, and sometimes it feels like we just keep getting pulled back further and further in the opposite direction of where we actually want to be going, and not unlike a rubber band stretched beyond its capacity. Life, business. Sometimes it feels like you're going to snap right between your fingers. And, what we've got to remember is that, like a rubber band, that you're pulling back with a piece of paper in it, like a slingshot, it's being pulled back further and further, not to hold us back, but to gain power and exponentially propel ourselves forward. So when you are doubting yourself, take a deep breath in the moment, smile and offer gratitude, and know that what lies ahead will be so much better than you possibly imagined. And always put good out into the universe to help others, no matter what you're going through. And remind yourself that the next great chapter of the adventure in your journey is unfolding right before your eyes, and you're exactly where you meant to be. Now, the other thing I want to say is kind of tying on to what Tracy shared, which is this, what I've realized is that for a long time, I've carried the weights of past mistakes. We talk about things like failure. I've allowed past mistakes to define my self-worth and to shape my self-perception. And honestly, I've been my own harshest critic. I think it's something many of us can relate to, replaying moments of perceived failure over and over in my mind. And recently had shared a number of things happening in my life in terms of the roller coaster of a year of divorce, of pain, uncertainty, disruption, of growth. But over time that I've come to understand that the most crucial journey that we can embark on is a journey of self-compassion. And it's about recognizing that I, like everyone else, am a work in progress. It's about accepting that, making mistakes doesn't diminish your value. It's simply a stepping stone on the path of growing. And as recently a good friend of mine shared on a video chat together, he was in the comments, he said something that hit me hard, which was, I don't think you've forgiven yourself. And it really hit me because it was completely unexpected. And I wound up welling up and, as Nancy Debra would say, radiating real, that I hadn't forgiven myself. And learning that forgiveness begins within. And it's a conscious choice to release the burdens of guilt and self-blame, and understanding that you deserve the same kindness and understanding that is readily offered to others. And self-forgiveness isn't about absolving responsibility or ignoring the consequences of our actions. It's about acknowledging the past. It's learning from the past and it's letting go of the past. And it's about reclaiming our own power and freeing ourselves from those shackles of regret, and realizing that this whole journey that we're on has and continues to be a really powerful reminder that growth often arises from the ashes of these mistakes that we think are mistakes. And the reality is that they're not, because these moments of vulnerability are where we find our strength, and it's where we evolve and adapt and become more resilient. So I want everyone to remember that we're all a work in progress, and now more than ever that our greatest lessons often emerge from our most challenging moments. We all make mistakes. It's an inevitable part of being human. So here's to intention, here's to self-forgiveness, here's to self-compassion, here's to the unshakable belief that we have the power to rewrite our own narratives, and here's to all of us being a part of each other's journey.
Right. I love that. Okay, standing ovation for Brian on that one. Total mic drop. Hey, I just want to say, Brian, that is the key point there, that we're all a work in progress, and we need to forgive ourselves and forgive others. You were talking about not having forgiven yourself. And sometimes, too, we look at places that hold us back, not just ourselves, but we don't forgive others for things that really, in the scheme of life, are pretty trivial. And we need to be able to come together and realize all of us make mistakes. All of us have challenges. And when we look at the positives, and we're intentionally building a positive community and keeping a good perspective about life and what's really happening, there's so many more things to come together on. There's so many things we have in common than we're different about. And I think that is so, so critical to our life journey. Yes, for sure. For sure. Dave, take it away.
I got to follow that. That was too amazing to follow. No, incredible. I mean, what everybody is saying is spot on and incredible. And the thing that kind of continues to play through in my mind, what I want to leave people with is maybe a way to take the ideas and the things that everybody is talking about and putting them into a tangible framework for people. If you follow me at all, you probably have heard me talk about the foundations framework that I use, and I apply it in a different context, but I think here we can apply it in a similar fashion with similar results. And the foundations framework for me is all about a cycle of continuous improvement, right? So it's a 5-part framework: plan, execute, review, revise, repeat. And what I think about from the cycle of continuous improvement framework as it applies to intentionality is that, as we are taking these lessons and, hardships and the things that we go through on any given day basis, it really is pulling the what is working well, what isn't working well, that reflection stage, right? The review part of the plan, execute, review, revise, repeat, right? And then comes the revise. Like, how can we do more of the stuff that's moving us closer to that intentionality? How can we be more authentic with ourselves, with each other? How can we show up in a way that is meaningful for other people, right? How can we do more of that? And then on the opposite side of that is, what can we eliminate? What can we change about the things that we're doing? What have we learned? The lessons that we want to take away and apply forward as we continue to go through this cycle of improvement, both for ourselves, for our businesses, within our families, within our communities. We can apply this framework, I feel like, in really any type of situation, personally, business, with a relationship. So that's, I think, what I want to leave people with is some tangible way to apply this within their lives or within their business to really help them move the needle forward in a meaningful way that they can measure as well. So, and in terms of how you can connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on our website, and I'd love to have a conversation with you, love to be connected with you, and see how I can support you in your journey.
Because, really what you just said that's so critical is it all starts with the conversation, right? It all starts with a connection. It all starts with building, caring. And how do we do that? By coming together and really communicating. And then we learn and we grow through the processes and all the things that each one of us has strengths on, right? And if we want processes, we go to Dave. If we just want a big mouth, we go to Russ. I mean, there's different options for different people. And so, but, I want to do a quick shout out again. I've got now 3 of my co-authors. CJ has joined us. Dr. Constance Leland is here along with Nick. Nicole, she's with us today along with Willie J. He was here. So those that have not got your copy yet of Rattled Awake, you need to get that. You need to get everybody's books here. In fact, everybody that is here today, please throw your books. If we don't, make sure that we get them all in the comments. Get a link in the comments, and you can just put it up on the screen. There you go. Yes, we got some best-selling authors here. I really aspired to be Brian and Nancy, and that's why I wrote this last book, just so I could be a best-selling author. But anyway, all right, Dimitry, you're going to close us out, buddy. Here we go. You're almost live.
So nice. So yes, thank you. This is amazing. Like all these perspectives have been incredible. I think that this is exactly the reason why it's so important for us to be able to gather all of our experiences and perspectives, because I believe that if you look at the past and the way we have learned, they have been very limited options that we were aware of. This is one of the most exciting times to be living, for the fact that I believe that technology, knowledge sharing, and ability to be able to coexist with distances and many times even cultures and languages. I think that the reason why we're going to be able to understand ourselves a lot better is because we're going to be able to see the possibilities. I think we have been limited to how we can develop ourselves. I think that we've been told that we need to fit a certain pattern or to follow a certain path, and I think that those are the limitations that we need to understand in order to be intentional. Understanding that we are the greatest only until we are challenged. Many times people talk about failures and talk about difficulties, and that's exactly what makes life intentional. When you are willing to take on the risk, when you are willing to take on the possibility, and that's exactly what I believe is having that courage, not having that clarity, but believing in yourself, believing in the possibilities that are out there that can become us and become the world that we live in. They told us that we were not big enough to make changes, and that's not true. Again, intentionality, I believe, is understanding our potential. Now, not just in a general sense, but in every aspect of life, not just in a professional, not just in an educational, but actually our having intentional relationships. In other words, like as we've talked today, measuring ourselves in order to understand how much we are progressing. So I think that the future holds a lot of uncertainty, but it also holds a lot of opportunity, a lot of different things that we were not able, we were not aware that was possible it's going to be possible. So I think that's where we need to see life as an opportunity for us to be able to live it, to learn from it, experience, and grow from it. And then, as we mentioned, come to as a community and be able to share these experiences with everyone, and understand that the courage will come from that collective unity of community and culture, and remembering that we are citizens of this world. And I think that our differences and our uniqueness are going to become our strengths, and are going to become what's going to create this whole world as a whole. And I believe that we have negative bias as a natural cause, and confirmation bias. We need to challenge all those things. We need to challenge ourselves to make sure that we understand that we are more than we have understood we are, in the possibilities that we have once we move ourselves towards something with a higher purpose, and we understand that our value in this world is how we serve others. And when we see that, the world becomes smaller and greater.
Yes, exactly. Amazing points, all of you. Dimitry, how do people get in touch with you?
Yes, so I'm on LinkedIn, everyone. I'm the automation guy. Simply Automate Inc. is our company. If you want to eradicate unintelligent, repetitive manual work from your internal processes, we want to be able to help you find the higher purpose and the ability that humans have to be able to innovate and create and problem solve. So we are helping small, medium-sized businesses improve and scale through automation. So please get a hold of me, and I would love to network with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I can't even tell you all how amazing this is, because first of all the intention and purpose really is meaningless without each other. I think by coming together, the connection and community that has been built, and how people have really banded together through times of personal challenge, through times of celebration, through times of cumulative challenge, right, guys? Back when COVID hit, we all had some of the same challenges. And I think we've seen a lot of things to draw us together. And I think through good and bad, we are always better together. We always learn through our journey. And we need to remember that to be intentional is to really listen and care about your neighbor, your friend, your LinkedIn community, whoever that might be. And you all have taught me so much. Every time I come on here, I learn so much. And you guys are just amazing friends. And I can't even begin to tell you how much fun this has been. I could go 2 more hours today, but we got to wrap it up. And I just want to do a quick shout out for Jill, who made it another co-author of Rattled Awake. Whoop, whoop. So, I'd like to shout out everybody's books, but it's my show. So I'm just going to shout out that book for now. But anyway, there you go. More books. Put them in the comments. Come on. Anyway, no, I first of all, I encourage you to get in touch with everybody here today. Tracy had to pop out, but all of her information along with everybody here is in the comments. All the books and all that stuff is available for you guys for wisdom and strength, and actually really just helping each other out. And if you need processes, just run right to Dave. He can help you with all of that. He's your man. So we're going to close things out with all of you here today, because I appreciate each one of you. And we've drawn to a close on this episode of Russ Reels Live. Remember, we're here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I appreciate all of you guys. This community is so amazing. If you're not connected to me or any of the people here, please connect. You can go to russedge.com for me. They all gave their connection information. It's in the show notes for all of us and in the comments. And we would love to connect with you, inspire and encourage you, draw closer as a community, and just be a blessing for one another, because we can be more intentional when we help each other out and we encourage each other through the good, the bad, the failures, the successes. We can help each other out. So thanks for being here today. And until next Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, have a great day and a great life. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!